Hey, what is up, spiritual hooligans? Glad you are here. I want to start this mastermind tell-all webinar with a series of questions that I want you to ponder. Are your goals coming true at the speed that you want? Are you as positive, peaceful, and joyous as you know you can be? Are you as empowered as you want to be going after your dreams? And do you feel whole, complete, and perfect exactly as you are? Are you in control of the thinking in your head, or is the thinking in your head in control of you? Does your mind think about things that you don't want it to think about? Does your mind interpret and interrupt and distract with the unimportant details and the drama of your life too often? Do you spend a tiny fraction of your time thinking about what really matters to you? And do you spend way too much time focused on the unimportant routine matters, distractions, and emergencies? Have years gone by? Has the whirlwind of life caused you to ignore or even avoid going after the things that really, really matter to you, things you really, really want? If you said yes to any of those questions, then the Ignite Mastermind group could be the perfect next step in your journey to living a life filled with enlightened prosperity. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because you know that that's what I'm all about. Enlightened prosperity. I'm sure that you can find a way to be enlightened, to live with a quiet mind. I'm positive you can go out there in the world and find that. And I know with certainty you can find a way to be successful and have a kick-ass life, what I call an epic life. But I have searched high and low to find a way to marry those things, to do both. And none of my mentors, none of them, found a way to combine them together. Now, if you're familiar with my work, you know that's what I'm all about, and I have found the way. And I've got 5 high conscious go-getters on the line today. And their directive is to share from the heart what it means to be striving for and to live with enlightened prosperity, a quiet mind, going after your biggest dreams. And together, we're going to help you see, all 6 of us, and Kristen's on there too somewhere, but together, all 6 of us are going to help you to see what happens when you surround yourself with other high conscious go-getters. What happens when your mind goes quiet? You feel profound states of happiness and peace. And then you use that beautiful state to go after it, to succeed, to achieve, to create the life of your dreams. Again, what I call an epic life. Quiet mind, epic life. If you haven't read my book, 100% you should read my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life. 100%. Now, I believe that you are joining me and all of us today because you know the power of my work, which I call the rapid enlightenment process. And I believe that you're a high conscious go-getter. And what does that mean? That means that you're not necessarily a greedy, pushing, forcing, manipulating go-getter. In fact, you're the opposite. You're a kind, loving, sensitive, spiritual go-getter. You're not a spiritual derelict either. You're not only spiritual, but your life is malfunctioning everywhere. You're committed to having an epic life, enlightened prosperity. You marry those 2 things together, and that's what we're talking about today. Now, today, I want to address 3 problems that I've noticed high conscious go-getters like you have. When you realize, oh my gosh, I want it all. I want to be, maybe you've gone down the path of trying to be successful. You had some success and you're like, I'm successful, but I got no peace. Or maybe you've gone down the path of trying to be at peace and you're like, I'm at peace, but my life sucks. Well, how do you solve that problem? And what I've seen is there are 3 issues. 1, you keep setting some version of the same goals over and over and over, and you're not quite getting it because you're working harder and harder, hoping that this time you're going to finally feel like you've arrived, finally feel like you've accomplished, but you never quite get there. Something's blocking you, and you don't know what it is. And instead of trying to solve the underlying issue, You use force, you use this like bulldozer energy to try and get yourself through that problem. We have Max on the line today, and Max is going to share a little bit about his, like sort of forget about how I feel, forget about that I'm not liking my life, forget about how everything sucks, and just power through, and how that is really an empty promise. Problem number 2 is that you're relatively successful already. I know you are. You've hit some great benchmarks, but I suspect that you have that feeling inside like, when am I going to have my home run? When am I going to have the dream scenario come true? And I know that you have many wonderful moments of gratitude and happiness and success, but I also know that you still get railroaded by the drunk monkey. You still get railroaded by that negative thinking. And you're conscious enough to know better, and it annoys you. And this, you're going to hear from CG today. And CG is one of those people, she was conscious enough to know that this negative thinking doesn't apply. Her life is amazing. And yet she's just getting nailed by this negative thinking on a regular basis. Problem number 3 is that you've been there, done that. You've progressed beyond your religion. You've progressed beyond your teachers. You've progressed beyond your mentors. This is very common for people like you. You're a deeply spiritual, empowered person. You know that peace and bliss and living a really, really good life is possible. And you're pretty much there, right? You're pretty much there, but something's still missing. The traditional pathways of religion and the traditional pathways of New Age spirituality, they're just, it's like, God, how many freaking times are you going to do it before you just go like, my mind is not completely quiet. I am not completely in a state of profound peace. You've maxed out your potential using those old modalities. You aren't growing the way that you thought you would. And if we look at Linda's one of our panelists today, we can see that Linda is one of those people that's been there, done that. We look at Eric. Eric is one of those people, he's just done everything under the sun. It's like, why am I still not experiencing that profound state of peace? And it's so interesting because when we are experiencing those 3 problems, we're setting the same goals over and over and over. We are having the nagging feeling like we're not there yet. And at the exact same time, we've transcended most of our teachers and our religions and the way that we were raised. Well, it creates these really nagging effects. We get this nagging feeling like you're never going to succeed and be as successful as you want to be. Or you feel like other people must be lucky and you're not. You get down on yourself for being negative because you know that you shouldn't be, but you can't help it. You have the toys, you have the vacations, you're driving a nice car, you're giving back, but none of it actually feels like you've arrived. You're experiencing what I call the treadmill from hell. People tell you that you're successful, but you're like, I don't know, am I really? Sometimes you feel like a fraud or like what I call a traitor, right? You wonder if people can see that you're so powerful that a lot of times you're half-assing it. Just be honest. A lot of times you're half-assing it and everyone around you is like, whoa, so amazing, but you're half-assing it. And over the years, what I've seen is that there is an underlying cause to all of this that is blocking you from having the quantum leap that you desire. And that is the hidden motives to survive. Now, if you've read my book, you hear me talk a lot about the hidden motives to survive. And these hidden motives are actually blocking you from having quantum leaps. They are invisible barriers that you keep bumping up against. And they're there. You can feel them, right? You feel yourself being limited. But I'm willing to bet that you haven't been able to do anything about it, that you've made these incremental jumps, but there's this big jump in your life, like profound states of peace and kicking ass in your life. I know that that's available to you. You're an advanced student, right? So, I can tell you that it's not the drunk monkey in your head. That's not it. The drunk monkey, in fact, is just an expression of the unconscious, energetic filters that I call the hidden motives. And you and I both know that there are layers and layers and layers and layers of habits, beliefs, and I'm going to call it energetic information, that like the soup that you're living in, that have become an impenetrable obstacle to you having a have-it-all life. Now, I just want you to check in with yourself. I started off this webinar with a series of questions, and I just want you to check in with yourself. Now that I've kind of dialed us in, I want to go back to those questions, because the answers to these questions help you to know that what I'm saying is true and real. Are your goals coming true at the speed that you want? Are you as positive, peaceful, and joyous as you know you can be? Are you empowered to go after your dreams? Do you feel whole, complete, and perfect exactly as you are? Are you in control of your thoughts, or are your thoughts in control of you? Does your mind think things that you don't want it to think about? Does your mind interrupt you and distract you with unimportant details and drama? Do you spend a tiny fraction of your time thinking about what really matters to you? Do you spend way too much time focused on the unimportant, routine distractions and emergencies? I mean, have years gone by? Have you got caught up in the whirlwind of life, and it's caused you to ignore, maybe even avoid going after the things you really want, the stuff that's really in your heart? Because if you answered yes to any of those things, then I'm going to say it again. I believe that the Ignite Mastermind group could be that perfect next step for you. And I'm going to propose that up until now, you've been trying to solve the wrong problem. And after decades of inner work myself, after conducting thousands of hours of coaching calls, I've actually found the solution. And it is to remove the energetic filters that are blocking you from taking effective action on your goals and dreams. And here's the thing to know: those energetic filters are actually robbing you of your peace. The real solution here is to remove the filters that get created by the hidden motives to survive. To enter into a state of bliss, joy, and peace, the enlightened state, to enter into that state now, and then apply that framework to the actions and the goals. I'm going to propose this. Your filters are controlling the way that you see the world, and therefore your filters are blocking you from having a quantum leap. And if you want to make a quantum leap, if you want to start living your have-it-all life, then you have to shift, adjust, and destroy those filters. And when you do, it's mind-blowing. It's like, it's the thing that I described in a book that I wrote about a decade ago. And I said, it's like you're getting everything, but you're doing nothing to get it. And really what I was describing is this experience of effortlessness. So with all that preamble, what I want to do is I want to bring our panelists into the process with us. And I want to introduce you to 5 people who have agreed to share deeply and authentically. And I've asked them to share their trials, their tribulations. I don't want to, the goal here is not to necessarily have them demonstrate that everything is rosy all the time, because you and I know that that's bullshit. It's just not. And they have made the ascent over these, in some cases, short periods of time, over the last couple of years. I've asked them to share this ascent into the peace and the freedom of the enlightened, quiet mind state. And I want them to talk about the process of that and the effect of that. And I wanted to do something different this time around. So we do these tell-all webinar panels now 3 times a year. And the last time that I did it, I did it predominantly with people who had already been deep into the process. And I wanted to shift it around. I wanted to show you just how fast the transformation can occur. So this time around, I have two senior members of the mastermind, and I have three new members of the mastermind. I wanted you to see how fast this happens. So we have Max Gomez on the line. He's a real estate investor in Southern California and new to the group in May. Then we have an experienced member, CG Siddons, and she's one of the top network marketers in a company called Isagenix. And she's been in the mastermind now for more than a year. This is her second time through. Then we have Eric Thompson. He's the CEO of Subtle Energy Sciences out of Indiana, and he's been a member since May. Then we have Lacey Buller, and Lacey is a luxury real estate agent in Beverly Hills, California, and she's been in the mastermind now for more than a year. This is her second time through. And then finally, we have Linda Lyons, and Linda is a transformational coach, and she's been in the mastermind for 90 days. So let me start off with CG. So CG, if you could unmute yourself, that'd be great. And then Eric, Linda, Max, and oh, I see that Lacey's name is my name. So maybe Kristen can change that. I don't know if she can do that.
Yeah, and then would you just introduce me for the folks that don't know who I am on the call?
Sure, well, absolutely. Okay, well, that is my fantastic business partner, and the bonus is she is also my wife. She is the entrepreneur, systems builder, financier, kick-ass integrity person on our little two-person team here at Elevate the Vibe, Kristen Marie Ferry. Voila. Hi.
Hi. So I'm going to be monitoring the chat, and reach out if you need me. Hello, Jeanette. Just put something into the chat. If you want to raise your hand, put in a little comment. I'm also I'm keeping track of email. So if you want to respond to an email that you got to be on this tell-all call today, you can ask a question there. I'll be monitoring both these places. So I'm just here to help and support.
Thank you for doing that, baby. Okay, so let's jump back to CG now. CG, you came to the mastermind group top of the game. Let's be honest. You're already the top of the game. You ranked in the top 50 among tens of thousands of salespeople for Isagenix worldwide. I mean, you are one of their top salespeople. How are you leveraging the power of mastermind? Can you just share that with the group? I by the way, I didn't tell them anything that I was going to ask them. I just said, I want to booby trap you, surprise you. I want you to just be on the fly with me. How are you leveraging the power of mastermind, CG?
I would say the best way I could explain it at this point, because like you said, it's been a few years and a journey. I'm really leveraging the people in the group right now and being a part of a different kind of conversation than I can have. My example is always at the dog park, but a different kind of conversation that I'm having with regular people. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but it's the people that I've met in this process from a life standpoint, from a business standpoint, from things I've learned, from people I've done business with in it. It's changed my life, and it's changed the way I look at my life. I've gotten so many takeaways from people. And it's been kind of incredible because this is the first time I've been in a group that is not primarily network marketers, which has been very refreshing for me because I tend to have drank my own Kool-Aid a lot of the time and hung out with a lot of people who did what I did. And this is such an eclectic group of people that I've learned so much from.
That is awesome. We're going to come back to you, CG, with some more questions, but I want to kind of just dip in with each of the people on our panel, give you a sense of this. Eric, you are a hardcore seeker. That's my definition for what you are. You've done every modality that you could possibly get your hands on. You're the CEO of a leading edge spiritual development technology company. You already belong to other mastermind groups. Why on earth join something like this? It seems like you've already arrived.
Well, Matthew, I became aware of your work actually about 10 years ago when I was in a kind of apprenticeship with a Shaktipat master that you also trained under, and had an influence on your life, and that's how I became aware of your work. And what struck me even back then was one of the things I had seen, and also we share a mentor in David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins, and I did see this split between these ideas of prosperity and enlightenment. And what I started to notice, and it wasn't just in other people, it was in myself as well. You hear these very profound concepts and ideas about enlightenment. Often there'll be talk about prosperity. We go into very deep states of meditation, samadhi, even at times when I was meditating with one of my mentors. And yet, I would hear this talk of, well, you can't be enlightened and really prosper at the same time, because then your ego gets in the way. So it was always kind of schizophrenic. It was like, yeah, prosperity sometimes, enlightenment most of the time, but you can't have both. That is very subtle, but it's there a lot. I saw it in myself. I saw it in other people, groups that I was in some of these circles where I would be talking about, I came from a very dysfunctional background. I went through years of homelessness, and part of my seeking was really to find a reason to live, to find a reason to try and have a normal life, to make sense of this life. And in a sense, it was a survival strategy. The seeking of enlightenment was a survival strategy. It felt like I have to find enlightenment or there's no reason to live. So in that particular milieu and in that environment, I also wanted to raise my prosperity. I wanted life not to be a struggle anymore. And when I would start to talk about this with my friends in these various circles, they, I would push their buttons and they'd say, oh, but you can't do that. If
Right.
you want to prosper, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You can't take it. It's good to prosper, but don't take it too far. And eventually it just kind of turned me off. And I realized I kind of needed to go my way. And a lot of the sort of the defining path of my life is going my own way. I have a business that's really sometimes a little bit difficult to describe what I do because it is very unique. And so that's the path I've been on the last several years. And I think last year when you came out with the book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life, I said, there's Matthew Ferry again. I want to pay attention. And so I read the book. I went to the Quiet Mind, Epic Life, or the Epic Life Live program. And I enrolled in the muscle testing group. And it was interesting because I found that just being in the presence of this group and it was a simple class. I wasn't doing anything different. But what I started to become aware of was, even though I've thought of myself as a high conscious person, I started seeing all these survival mechanisms that I was operating out of. But there was also like a space that was opening up between me and those survival mechanisms. I could see them and not react. And it was really blowing my mind. I was like, I'm not doing anything different. I'm just showing up to the muscle testing class.
And Eric, let me pause you on that.
Yeah.
And I think you got us very, very clear on this idea that there's something different going on here. This is not, I'm not Mr. Shotki Pot Master. I'm trained in that, but that's not my deal. I'm not Mr. Muscle Testing Master. I'm trained in that, but that's not my whole deal. And there is the possibility of being in a thriving state, which means devoid of survival ideas. Am I going to make it? Am I good enough? Why is everyone better than me? Blah, blah, blah. You can be there and you can be kicking ass, and they don't conflict with each other. Let me jump over to Lacey, and then I'll come back to you, Eric. Lacey, you blew up your life. You blew up your life to be with the love of your life. You recreated everything to live in Beverly Hills, perhaps one of the most ego-based, competitive, dog-eat-dog luxury real estate markets in the world. And yet, you have gone into this process like an enlightened master, like a monk, in a totally different way. This is your second year in the mastermind. And how did you leverage the power of the enlightened quiet mind state to create your quantum leaps? Can you share that with the group?
Yeah, I think that we probably all relate with the idea of you set a goal and then your mind starts chattering. And regardless of whether or not you can do your affirmations and your vision boards and everything else, that chatter is still there. And yes, there's a lot of ego in my industry. And so there's that layer to it as well. So when I understood the concept of the drunk monkey, like really understood the hidden motives and how to address them, that level of awareness in and of itself was just game changing.
And what did it provide? What were some of the quantum leaps that you experienced as you really dove in deep on this?
Oh my God. I mean, I only came to LA a few years ago. I sold real estate for a decade in Phoenix. I was a top producer there. I have one listing that's my entire production in Phoenix, in Beverly Hills, or in LA. That happened in a very short amount of time. It was like being comfortable with the idea of how creation correlates with destruction and moving through that, and with a quiet mind, so that I could continue to evolve and fast forward to today. I mean, in such a short amount of time, what I'm producing is mind-blowing even to myself. I mean, and this might not be crazy for anyone else. There may not be any sort of context for anyone here, but like having a $50 million listing is a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? And so that just fell in my lap. And sure, there's a backstory there that we don't need to get into, but that's a quantum leap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a $50 million listing, that can be a very, very, very large commission and a life changer. And it's a quantum leap compared to where you would have been in Phoenix, where, the most you're going to sell is maybe a $500,000 listing. For those of you who don't understand real estate, they get paid on a percentage. So the higher the value, the more money you make each time. And there certainly is all kinds of inner stuff that you had to deal with, Lacey, to be able to deal with these people at this level, don't you think?
100%. I mean, looking back and being a part of the mastermind has helped me to understand and explore my own personal integrity and how much that plays a part in the drunk monkey. And so really getting intimate with myself from that perspective. I mean, the way I exited my last relationship, the way that I came to LA, the way, there was a lot of ways that I was destructing without integrity. And so now it's really exciting that in the last few months, Matthew, I haven't had a chance to really connect with you to share since the last time we met, but the rate in which I'm manifesting now, because of the fact that I'm focused on my integrity and I have all of these other tools, it's, there's no word to describe how mind-blowing it is. And yet, because there's this like level of understanding of all of this and this level of consciousness, it's actually, it just is what it is. Like, it's not like yeah, exactly. It's no longer high and low and it's just an observer of this thing that we kind of make a big deal, but it's not. It's just how things happen, and being an observer of that is really cool.
Yeah, so I'll sum it up in this way. When you remove the survival information, the super version of yourself comes out. which is a more organized, effective, empowered, graceful version. And that's what provides the quantum leaps. That's why people accelerate so massively when they implement the rapid enlightenment process. Let's jump over to Linda. Linda, you're 90 days into the process. You're a newbie in this process. But like Lacey, you've used the structure of the mastermind to just TNT, blow up your life, and started living your dream life right now. And you're not waiting anymore. Can you tell us about the changes that you're making and how the mastermind has really been this structure and this board of advisors to help you make a graceful transformation?
Sure. Thanks for having me on today, and I appreciate that. Like Lacey, I lived in Phoenix and in Arizona for over 52 years. And it was comfortable. It was convenient. It was everything normal. And inside, I wasn't comfortable. I had been talking about moving to California, Southern California, to be more specific, and just basically throwing this out there, almost this tease out in front of me of, well, what if you did? What if you did? And always shooting it down, not necessarily taking advantage of it, believing in myself. And honestly, for the last couple of years, as my children were leaving the nest, I've been tempting with this of, well, what would it look like if I did? And like every good coach, I have many coaches, and one of my spiritual coaches and I had lunch back in April, and I had one plan, and all of a sudden she remembered what my goal was and what my true heart and my dream was, and she just called me out on it, and with love, of course. And she just said, what would it look like? What's holding you back here? And the only answer that I had is because it's comfortable and it's convenient and it's what I've always done. So within literally about 45 minutes, I made a decision, and that led to multiple conversations, which led me within a couple of short weeks to, that's actually at the same time that I decided and I made the decision to join the mastermind. And so I left everything in terms of my house. My kids are still back in Arizona. I left my elderly parents. I left multiple family members. I left
Wait a second. Did you leave guilt and obligation behind and ascend into a new state of freedom?
Can I just, like, if you can't see the tears of joy, it's an unbelievable, giving yourself permission, the opportunity to do that, and to be surrounding yourself with people that believe in you no matter what, and to just say, hey girl, you got this. And to just be there with you side by side. And some are down the street, literally, and others are across the country, of support and really daily connection of helping you go after your dreams, because you're absolutely 100% worth it, and giving you the space to have you believe that for yourself. Has it been easy? Hell no. And I'm still in a space of, holy cow, I don't even know where anything is. I'm still unpacking. I'll be unpacking for quite a while. I basically moved to a place, I know very few people, yet most of my relationships, my work is on the phone or on Zoom calls and things like that. And there's things that I'm discovering about myself, the connections that I want to maintain with people, who's important in my life, who is still showing up in my life. And yet I'm just like, I don't have any loss of not being in a relationship with you anymore. So I'm getting very, very clear on who's important in my world, who I want to keep there for the long haul. And
who was there out of convenience, guilt, structure, long-term obligation, blah, 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 right? It's obligation.
Pretty much every relationship that I had, with maybe just a handful. And many of the people that are in this mastermind have been through, I call myself basically a personal growth junkie. And I was thinking that this, one experience led me, I kind of started this development process in 2010 when my mom died. Somehow there's significant life events that get tied to my own personal, well, maybe I should do something different. So it really gave me permission to begin that journey, begin that path. And I was always seeking and not being fulfilled. It was this is going to help. This is going to make me feel better. This is going to fix me. This is going to make me feel a different way. And the fact of the matter is it just not true.
And will you contrast that? Because it's important. Everyone who is with us right now is like you and I. They've been there, done that. And they've spent a lot of time saying, if I just do this thing, then I'm going to feel better. Or if I change these circumstances, then I'm going to be happy. If I just go do this class, then I'm finally going to be satisfied. But the span of 90 days in the mastermind, we have created a complete transformation around your ability to be satisfied in the middle of chaos. Can you talk about that peace and that quietness in your mind as you've gone through this incredible transformation?
Nothing bothers me. Nothing. And I don't know how to describe it.
That's it, right? That's it.
Just
everybody's supposed to know. All the other panelists are like this, like, yep, that's right. I'm gonna pause you right there, Linda. I want to jump in with Max, and then I'm gonna circle back with you. Max, you've built a huge life for yourself. Huge. You're a very successful real estate investor, and yet the wheels are coming off the bus. It's all falling apart because you are getting a divorce, what feels like a terrible tragedy. Divorce is probably one of the most destructive things that you can have happen in your life. And yet, there's this quality in the mastermind. The mastermind is helping you to massively speed up the transformation in your life through the power of the enlightened state. Can you describe the transformation that you're already seeing in just 90 days?
In this process, I've learned that it's all me and it's always me and it's never them. So once I learned how to release others, in this example, my ex-wife, instead of trying to convert her and letting her be who she is, and actually being happy for her for who she is, and me, myself, being in integrity has completely released both of us and has helped made this process or this chapter really efficient.
And by efficient, I'm going to just interpret it. By efficient, I think you mean less hostile, less
Correct.
Conflict, less agitation. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. Once I became integral in my approach to her, it seems like just in a snap of a finger when we set the intention back when we all met, from that day on, it seemed like she was on the same page. And it was the stuff that I released for myself, and whatever it is I communicated or whatever energy I gave out, she just completely embraced it, and we just have been completely on the same page with our children, the finances, and whatever else steps we need to take.
And it's not without challenge, and it's not without conflict, and there's all those moments. But what everyone should know is 3 times a year we get together, and when we get together, we use the power of the group to magnetize or intensify our intentions. And that we're not doing anything like mystical or magical, actually. What's happening is when we all come together, because it's all high conscious people, you actually heal in the presence of the people in the group. And that's something that Eric was talking about, is like, Eric was like, I thought I was a pretty high conscious guy, but then I just get on these Zoom calls, and all of a sudden I'm becoming aware of dark negative shit that's going on in my mind that I was kind of covering up, and now it comes to the surface so that I can deal with it and use the techniques to let it go. And so what Max was talking about is he set this intention when we were all together, and it was like shaboom, all of a sudden what needed to shift inside of him shifted, which then when you shift, the world shifts. So let me circle back here. Most people think that the enlightened, quiet mind state is only for a special few, Eric. And is it possible for anyone using the methodology that we talk about to go into that profound quiet mind state? And if so, how does it impact your life when that happens?
Well, first of all, yes, it's possible for anyone to do it. I will say that I am still mastering the tools. I've been a part of the Ignite Mastermind for 3 months now, but it has been a real rocket ride for me. I will say when we went to the retreat, that rocked my world. Just being in the presence of other high conscious achievers absolutely rocked my world. I'm still feeling the just the presence of that, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. So do I operate in a quiet mind all the time now? No, not completely. I'm not all the way there yet. I would say, I'm just guessing, I would say I'm probably operating at about at least half, about 50% of a quiet mind, or somewhere thereabouts, sometimes more, sometimes a little less.
Wow, dude. By the way, wow. In 90 days, that's mind-blowing.
It absolutely is. And one of the things, again, that just blew my mind was, for me, I don't know that this will happen for everyone, just showing up to the group, I started to see these things happen. I didn't even fully grasp all the tools. Then when I started to become more aware of the hidden motives and other often invisible influences that are shaping our consciousness all the time, it's allowed me to be more in the driver's seat, but not in a controlling way. I mean, it's more about flow. It's more about letting go and just being okay with who I am, being okay with who everybody is, regardless of where they are in life. And absolutely, anybody can do it. Anybody.
Well, and what was exciting to me is you were talking about a company meeting that you were holding, and that you experienced like this magical connective moment with your entire staff. Will you just describe that moment and why it was so special?
Sure. Well, leading up to that, I will say that one of the first big signs to me of the changes that were happening, again, was this quiet mind that was emerging in me. But one of the things I noticed is that my staff would say or intimate certain things to the effect of, Eric, you're really a lot easier to work with. I mean, it was meetings, staff meetings, the workings of the company was just going really smoothly. I was much more aware of the things that would trigger me, and then it just seemed like it was just water just rolling off my back. Things just got really smooth. And when I came back from the retreat, one of the big aha moments I had was the power of transparency and helping us to live a more enlightened life, because there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to protect. There's no subtle survival strategies that can get in there.
Yeah, and we call that subtle survival strategy traitor. which is
Yes.
one of the hidden motives to survive, which blocks your transparency. So you began to utilize transparency, and what happened?
The very first time I came back from the retreat, I just started sharing mistakes I'd made, dreams I had, and then I said, I really want to know what you guys are doing. I want to know what's lighting you up in life, and I want to be there for you. I want to help you achieve that. And one of our staff just got really silent, and I said, hello, are you there? And next thing I know, she's starting to cry. She's going through her own issues, and I didn't have all the answers, but I just accepted her for who she was. And she felt that. We all felt it. And the next thing I know, she's saying, I love you, Eric. And I'm saying, I love you. And then all of us are telling each other we love each other. And ever since then, there's been a flow. I apologize for that. I had to turn that off. Ever since there's been this flow among the staff. And the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I have had a health issue, and if I remember correctly, some type of pressing issue that did kind of knock me off my center. But because there's this space where it's just okay, it's like we're all back at center and we're all flowing.
And you can be taken off track, and it's so much easier to come back together as a group when everyone knows that love is there. And this is not love like the normal love. This is love as in, I accept and appreciate and I respect who you are. I want to go rapid fire. CG, what is the hidden benefit that you didn't even... Oops, I'm knocking my microphone down. I'm getting too excited. What is the hidden benefit that you didn't even consider would be present in the mastermind? I'm going to ask that also to Max and to Lacey and to Linda. What is the hidden benefit you didn't even consider about being in a mastermind like this?
I would say, well, one, I mean, it's the people, and I'll always go back to that. The people have just been such a gift in my life in so many ways. I feel like that the hidden benefit, and I hope that I articulate this properly, is I feel like it's been a space where I can grow into a person who, and I don't know that I ever would have been able to say this before, but genuinely love myself and don't feel like I'm in a place where, and it's something that Kristen said to me, and it truly had such an impact. She said, what if you stopped relating to yourself from this need to fix something and declare the Fix CG project complete and work from that space? And a lot of the people in the mastermind kind of watched me go through that transition, and it was the support and the love and just like the overall community and culture that they provided that I feel like allowed me to really start to blossom in it. And still, like, the structure I have with them, even at this point in the conversation, it's just so different than anything I thought I was getting when I showed up in the world of Matthew Ferry. I mean, I didn't know what I was walking into, but it's certainly more and better and different than I could have ever expected.
Self-love.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Let's jump over to you, Max. Max, what's that hidden benefit you didn't even consider would occur inside of a group of high conscious go-getters like this?
It's kind of related to CG, how we can authentically be ourselves and talk about whatever it is that we want to talk about with no judgment, no nothing, because everybody's so high conscious, and the energy in there with that, or here in any of the calls, that I'm free to be myself and talk about whatever subject it is that I feel that I might want to be more efficient in.
And high conscious, for those of you who are tuned in right now, we define high conscious very simple. Consciousness is how much you're aware of, and then the key indicator of whether it goes up or down in your consciousness is how much you accept. So our objective in the group is to become aware of greater amounts of information in our reality, and then work diligently to accept everything that we're aware of. Let me jump over to Lacey. What was that hidden benefit you didn't even consider, Lacey?
I have to echo Max and CG. Definitely when I went to Epic Life Live, I immediately knew I found my tribe, which is why I, without hesitation, jumped into the mastermind. And in the mastermind, I guess I approached it in a very logical way, because I've been a part of other masterminds too, and like, oh yeah, I'll connect and network with this person or that person and we'll make shit happen. The connections with this specific tribe are authentic and supportive on a level that I don't have anywhere else in my life. And in fact, it is one of the biggest reasons why I stayed in. And the integrity, the accountability, just the qualities of the people, the like-mindedness of this tribe it's everything.
That's awesome. And then Linda, what do you want to add to that?
Just complete and total acceptance of who I am within the group. I left my life and I have created now a new life of at least 25 people that I could ask for anything and they would be there for me in a heartbeat if I needed anything. Anybody across the world. And I know that, you know what, they'd probably hop on a plane for me if I said I really needed something. And to have that level of confidence in a brand new person, it's the tribe, it's the creation and collection of souls. I think at that level that has allowed me to feel accepted and to know that I'm absolutely 100% in the right place. And I just wish that I knew more about it, earlier and sooner. So I'm excited to live the rest of my life with these people.
Me too. And let's be honest. We have a giant group of alumni who spent time in the mastermind, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I think this is our 9th year doing it. We have a giant group of alumni who are still around. They're still part of the tribe. They're doing their thing. They're not participating in our weekly calls and our retreats, but they're still connected to the group in a huge way. And I think that is the hidden benefit of the group, is that these people become your lifelong friends. And they become your lifelong friends because who do you have in your life that is a high conscious go-getter? How many people do you have? And for most of us, not a lot. So I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing your experience with us. And I want to share with our viewer and our listener the unvarnished reality. I think I wrote down 6 things. 1, you can either continue working hard for gradual gains in your income and your well-being and your satisfaction of life, right? Thus getting incrementally better, or you can leverage the power of an enlightened, quiet mind state to clear all the crap away so that a quantum leap occurs. Number 2, you can keep trying to do it on your own. Go for it. Or you can leverage the power of mastermind, a community of people all supporting each other. Number 3 is a question. What happens when you have me, Kristen, the group, right? CG, Eric, Max, Lacey, Linda, all the people in the group. What happens when you have a group of high conscious go-getters on your board of advisors? What happens when you have this group that you can go and just check things out? What do you think about this? And get unvarnished, authentic, real feedback from people who are kicking ass in life. Number 4, how fast do your ideas manifest into reality? When you have a group of free thinking, contrarian, not rule followers, creative, badasses who are all problem solving with you and creating accountability structures so that you can live the dreams that you have. Number 5, how many people do you have in your life who completely and totally accept you exactly as you are? That is the fundamental principle of the rapid enlightenment process. Total and complete acceptance of all people in all situations at all times, including yourself. What happens when you have a whole group of people who are accepting you? Number 6, how many people do you have in your life that believe that anything is possible and have the chutzpah, the balls, the cojones to hold you accountable to actually doing it? I propose that today, right now, it's probable, it's not 100%, but it's probable that you have your foot on the gas, and because of the hidden motives to survive, you have your foot on the brake, and that it's creating a limitation. If we remove that limitation and create a structured environment that you're in, the possibility of you creating a quantum leap is 100%. And a quantum leap, if we look at the dictionary, it's just any sudden and significant change, advance, or increase. And I just want you to know this, after nearly 2 decades of investigation and research and trial and error, testing and revising, I have personally mastered what has become a formula for engineering my own quantum leaps in my lives and the lives of my clients. And so I just want you to understand what I even mean by that. If life was as good as it gets, think about that question. You ever give yourself permission to think that question? If life was as good as it gets. It's September 2020. Go a year out with me, or a year out. If you're listening to the recording right now, we're live, right? But if you're listening to the recording, go a year out from me. September 2020. If life was as good as it gets, what happened? What miracles, what outrageous, mind-blowing results did you create if life was as good as it gets? Did you have a transformation with your kids and how you spend time with them? Would you transition your income from work to passive income? Would you travel more? Would you start a new company? Would you start doing that hobby? Would you deepen your spirituality? Would you make a difference for others? What's on the table for you? That's what we work on in the mastermind. We work on the big, outrageous stuff, because the big, outrageous stuff is where the juice is. So here's how it works. I want to start by telling you the objective of the mastermind. We read this at the beginning of every single call. Every time we're together, we start with this. The objective of the Ignite Mastermind group is to raise our level of consciousness, develop the skills to live with a quiet mind, and create a quantum leap in the most important areas of our life. In a nutshell, the Ignite Mastermind gives you the tools to live your version of an epic life. Here's how it works, right? So this is not the benefits, this is just the features. Ready? Weekly Zoom calls. Every week we get together and we dive deep into my time-tested curriculum. I've been refining this curriculum and this process now for 2 decades. This is year 26 of me coaching. So these are intense, yet fun, powerful Zoom video conference calls. We learn skills, we mastermind, we dream, we write. And here's what you need to know. Death, divorce, debt, IRS, cancer, whatever. Members of the mastermind navigate whatever life throws at them in a state of peace and power. It's exactly what Linda said. I don't worry about anything. Nothing takes me off my game. That's the first order of business, to get you into that aligned state. We do that on our weekly calls. Then we have destination weekend retreats. So 3 times a year, we all get together. Now, does everybody show up every single time? No, so don't worry about it, okay? If you showed up a couple times, which is what most people do, 2 times in a year, that's phenomenal. But 3 times a year, we travel together. We dive deep into the curriculum, and we're going all over the U.S. now. So our next retreat is going to be in Palm Springs. Then we are going to be at a wellness retreat in Arizona. We're looking at a Buddhist retreat, and all, we're not Buddhists or anything. We're not affiliated with anything, but we're just like, we're open. We want to go do fun, interesting, cool things together. And this is where you're going to develop your fellowship This is where you're going to go deep. This is where you're going to network. This is where you're going to brainstorm and explore those opportunities. The mastermind's an annual commitment. Okay. Ignite members dedicate themselves to participating fully for the benefit of themselves, but also for the benefit of the group. And that's the key. Like, we don't let people in who aren't in a place where they aren't going to contribute to other members. Because each member of the group has applied and gone through a process and been accepted, you're among your peers. You're among your peers on the path to creating your epic life. Now, we also are so sure, this is our 9th year running the mastermind, we are so sure that this works that we have a ludicrous guarantee. It's completely nuts. It is a 200% money back guarantee. That's how confident we are. Here's how it works. You bring your A game. You participate in 100% of the group calls. You attend at least one of the weekends. And if you don't experience a quantum leap in at least one area of your life, then Kristen and I will write you a check for twice your investment in the group. 2 times the investment. So you participate. You show up on the calls. You attend at least one retreat. And if you don't have a quantum leap where you just go like, damn, right? That's the response. You need to go like, damn, that was amazing. If you don't have that, we'll write you a check because somehow it didn't work for you. But I just want you to know we haven't written a single check yet. Not one. We haven't written a single check yet. That's how ballsy we are. That's how much we know this works. Now, there's 6 additional bonuses that we give you when you participate in the mastermind. I'm not going to bore you with that. Go to the mastermind page. The investment in the program is $9,640 for the year. Plus, you got to allot some money for travel and accommodations, whatever is comfortable for you. I'd say probably the average member spends about 15 grand to be in the group for the year. The way it works to invest with us, it's $1,995 down, $1,995 down. And then for 11 months, you pay $695 a month. That totals $9,640. Now, like I said, not everybody is admitted to the group. We're dedicated to participating fully and participating for the benefit of the group. Because what we know is if you're willing to focus on benefiting the group, the return that you get multiplies exponentially. Each member of this group has applied and been accepted. You're among your peers on the path to these quantum leaps that you're making in your life. You're going to be in my inner circle. This is the group that I like to hang out with. This is the group that I like to play with. We love having people over to the house. We love meeting people around the country. We love being on the phone with high conscious go-getters. The mastermind is uplifting for us. You're going to have personal access to me to help you to create your quantum leaps and the dream life. And truth is, there's only one other way to work that closely with me, and that is in my personal coaching program. And I just want you to know my personal coaching program, it's $30,000 a year per person. So this is a phenomenal way for you to participate. If you'll go to MatthewFerry.com/ignite-mastermind, MatthewFerry.com/ignite-mastermind. I think Kristen will probably put that in the chat for everybody. And you can get yourself applied. You can apply for the group, and then we're probably going to be calling you up and asking you questions if we are unsure, but we get pretty sure. We also use muscle testing, just so you know, to determine, is this person actually strengthening to the rest of the group? We can't, in our world, we can't afford to have people whose process that they're in will actually disturb the upward trajectory of the group, which doesn't mean that you aren't in breakdown. I just want you to know, a lot of times your breakdown is imperative for the group. So your breakdown actually, when the group works to solve your breakdown, everybody benefits from it. Don't think, oh man, I'm in breakdown and that probably won't be good for the group. I shouldn't apply. It's actually the opposite. Your breakdown is probably exactly what the group needs, okay? So I want to open up to any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, hallucinations, excitement, emotional overload, anything at all. Our panelists are still on the line. You can ask them questions as well. So Kristen, I'm going to throw it out to you to help us facilitate this process.
Outstanding.
Here she comes.
So we've just got a question. If someone doesn't make $30,000 a year, how can I afford to be a part of the mastermind? I'm broke, but I have the drive to do this so badly. This is a gal that's in the middle of reading the book. She's finished about 200 pages. I just encouraged her to get into doing the 10 hidden motives release meditations and the 23 daily practices. What other ideas do you have for someone that this isn't quite in their budget right now, but they're on the path and they want to do more?
I think that the most important thing for you to do to be a part of this group specifically. So this group is very focused on high conscious go-getter. And the go-getter part means that you kind of figured out your stuff. Like what is my prosperity plan and how am I operating effectively in the world? And we're not all in the same position on either of these equations, right? Some of us have a mind that is just eating us alive, but we're killing it in the prosperity plan or vice versa. And this particular group where we want you to be in a jumping off point is we want you to be, relatively effective mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relatively effective in your prosperity. So I think what there is to do actually is to take the Quiet Mind Epic Life modality and then start applying it to your prosperity plan. What do I want to do with my life? How do I want to make money? How do I want to serve the community? What is the way that I want to live? And then at that time, you might reach out to Kristen and I. I don't know if you're on our email list, but every week we send out an email that talks about the stuff that we're focused on. And you're going to see that so often what we're focused on is like the tactical part of life. Like, how do you tactically and effectively operate as a human being? So I'm going to recommend you do the Quiet Mind Epic Life process, and that you then apply the process to what you're going to do to make money, kick ass, and start accomplishing some of those more physical, life type of goals that aren't as spiritual. So that would be what I would recommend.
And maybe the fear into action videos too.
That's a great idea. Transforming Fear into Action is a tremendously effective program for you to take on. I don't know how that is available at this moment, so I will bow out to Kristen on that one. Maybe she has an idea.
We're in the middle of transitioning.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
I don't have those available. So I'll just give everybody who's on the line just a little secret insider. We are in the process of developing a mobile app for all of Matthew's online training programs. So it's sort of like Matthew Ferry in your pocket, if you will. And what you guys are getting is the sneak peek announcement that we weren't going to make for a while. I guess I'm telling everybody tomorrow, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. By the end of right around after Labor Day, we're going to have Transforming Fear into Action, potentially the Quiet Mind Epic Life, Epic Life Live recordings, Mental Journey to Millions, some of the classic hardcore Matthew Ferry legacy programs will all be available right here in your pocket. So we're pretty excited about that, and you'll be hearing more in the coming weeks.
Whoop, whoop. All right, that's awesome. Good. What other question you got, Kristen?
That's it. Jeanette said, hooray for the app. I know. Isn't it about time? Can you imagine transforming fear into action, ridiculous bliss, all of that, plus all of the meditations and visualizations right on your phone? In fact, just for fun, I'll just put this up to the, boy, I wasn't expecting to tell everybody that we're doing this, but here we go, guys. You're getting insider info. So right here is, we just start out with the spiritual hooligan icon up there at the top. And then for all of you that purchased the Quiet Mind book, we're going to make the supplemental materials that go along with the book available here in the app for free. And then we're also going to dive into, if you look here, I've got, it's probably backwards for you, but the 23 daily practices, the hidden motives, the workbooks and checklists and things are all going to be right here in your pocket. So
Yeah. It's going to be great.
We're working on this for a couple
Meditations
months.
be on the mobile app? The answer is yes, it will be on the mobile app.
Yeah. In fact, the mastermind doesn't even know that we're doing this. This has been like our top secret project.
And we're blowing it out right now. So look, we would love to have you be in our mastermind. And the first step is for you to apply. And even if you are afraid and you think you're going to be rejected and all of those normal things that go along with applying for something like this, I want you to apply anyways. And here's what my promise is. If you apply, what you're doing is you're throwing your hat in the ring, and you're putting yourself on the radar for Kristen and I. And Kristen and I we're pretty dedicated to assisting the people who raise their hand and say, I'm interested in this. I want to make this work. We're pretty dedicated to thinking about you actually pretty often and saying, oh, you know who always reaches out is this person, and why don't we tell them to do this thing or refer them to this book that we're reading, or maybe we could connect them with that person. We look to develop our community. It may not be that you are in a place right now to make it happen. I'll say last time that we opened it up, I think we had 44 applications and we took, whatever, total of 21 people or 25 people. And so, but those people that we didn't accept, one, we told them exactly why we didn't accept them. And then we said, here's what we think would move the needle in your life. And we began to engage those people on ways in which they could move the needle in their life. So don't stop yourself from applying because of self-doubt or thinking that you're not going to be accepted. The truth is you may not be accepted, and that could actually be the best possible thing that happens to move the needle in your life. So with that, I am going to bid you adieu. Thank you so much for being a part of our Tell All Mastermind. We're looking forward to being in communication with all of you, each and every one of you. Thank you to our panel. CG, I appreciate you greatly, and Max and Lacey and Linda and Eric, thank you. Thanks everybody. Thanks everyone for being on the webinar with us today. And if you are listening to the recording of this, thank you for spending all this time listening to the recording. We appreciate that greatly. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.